Ugh. Hi. Hi, guys. It is September. It's September. September 1. All right. I feel like this year really kind of sped by. Community guidelines strike on my video last night, and I'm banned, I'm punished, grounded for 1 week. I was bad by YouTube. Oh my God. I was bad. What the hell are we going to do? Medical misinformation. But to help keep our community safe, because you guys can't do that for yourself, we limit some of our more powerful features to channels who have built and maintained a positive channel history or who have provided verification. As of now, your channel doesn't have sufficient channel history. Really? It's only been, well, virtually every single day posting for years and years, but I guess I don't have sufficient channel history. It has lost access to advanced features. And this may happen because your channel did not follow our community guidelines. So I will not be able to do things like get higher daily limits for live streams, shorts, video uploads, embed live streams in comments. They wouldn't let me do that anyway. I couldn't pin a comment on my own channel. Add external links to your video descriptions. And how to restore access? I have to build a positive channel history by following our community guidelines. Or provide video or ID verification for quicker access. This may not be available for all channels. Thanks, the YouTube team. I am so tired of YouTube. What it used to be before Google destroyed it. It was so great. It was really incredible. The people, subscribers working together, passing along a lot of information, all of the features that we had before Google. One of them was underneath a video, you could post 2 videos of your own, for people to see. But now, it's just become, yet another government tool to silence the truth, censorship, yada, yada, yada. But it's very disruptive, and I don't like it. I really don't like it. I was down in the dumps today. So, who's here? Andrew Cruz and Michael Graham, Debbie Fratto, Sandra Pilar Gill, hi, Julie C., Jay Northrup, Patricia White, hi guys. Denise Martinez, hello. Sister G, Crystal Ingram, Silent Walk, hi. Yeah, I don't have a positive channel history. Really? Like I need YouTube to tell me that? I have so many subscribers who tell me that. Oh man, morning sunshine. Wow. Morning sunshine. I like it. Miss Blanche, hi. Kay Adams. Well, thank you all for showing up. I really appreciate it. Lynn Bowman, Bowman. Hi, guys. Well, we have quite a bit going on. I hope you're all doing okay. Uh, things are getting, well, let's say concerning. I don't want to use the word scary, but we all know what that means. But I think a lot of people think you're diving into a corner, shaking, drooling, terrified. Um, did I smile? Wow. I don't know if I smiled, but thanks. Even if you're delusional and seeing a smile on my face, thank you. Tanya, hi. Um, very concerning. You know, what's going on in the world with all of these wars and more talk about war. A whole lot of killing going on, man. It is pretty like, wow. I really think that we are in hell. We are definitely in hell. Well, there's so many channels with a focused topic. It I think it was and I didn't play the video, but it was reading from Twitter, and that's all I'm going to say, medical misinformation. All right, so let's do radar. Much to my surprise, it was a relatively quiet weekend, though some areas did get hit. But in terms of the weather warfare for the United States, it was quiet. Look at what's happening here, right along the East Coast. What is this? What are we looking at? It's a line of nanobots is what we're looking at. But yeah, so much. There are so many signatures that you don't have to be a meteorologist to understand that our weather and radar, what it looks like, has radically changed. All right, so we have 3 active for Kansas and Oklahoma. Slipping on into Oklahoma, we have Dewey, Ellis, and Woodward counties in Oklahoma, Sedgwick, Sumner, and Kingman County in Kansas. Be very careful. And small pockets of flash flood warnings. Bonham in Texas. Leonard, and up here in Oklahoma, well, Oklahoma, Kansas border. It's near Winoka, affecting Woods, Major, and Woodward counties. So if you have encountered a flooded roadway, turn around, but also in California. Flood watches, and expires in 2 days. Lancaster, all the way on up. Sierra National Forest, Ridgecrest, Keene, California City, Mojave, Rosamond, Lancaster, Quartz Hill, Palmdale, Lake Los Angeles. All right, well, California, you might have an atmospheric river coming in. I don't see anything, but it expires in 2 days. Are we looking at river? Are we looking at the possibility of river flooding for you guys in California? Let's look at the river site, the streams and lakes and creeks. Well, I don't see any, so I will post, well, I can't post a link to this, so the name I will post. And if you live around rivers, if you live, where am I? Around streams, you should bookmark these sites and check it out. If you get a lot of rain, you should go to that river prediction site. Weather-wise, I highly recommend that you bookmark and check on a daily basis because, yeah, a whole lot changes very quickly. The link to the alert page is in NRadar coming up. So, all right. Tony, hi. Vet for Peace, hi. Heterodox, hi. Hi, guys. Algos like cat videos. I'm sure they do. I like them too, but that's not my focus. So let's just listen again. It's a minute and 35 seconds. Why can't we get more people to just even consider that weather warfare is taking place?
Silver iodide, silver dioxide, aluminum, barium, strontium, cadmium, polymers, microplastics, and black coal. These are released as nanoparticles that are easily inhaled. I acknowledge we don't understand the full health ramifications of this activity, although I would submit respectfully, it cannot be good. But I would also acknowledge that this is an attempt to alter the environment. There's no question about it. I sent several pictures to Senator Garcia's aide. I've sent photographs to images to Representative Steele. Representative Steele showed me extensive images that he's observed from his farmland, his acreage in Pasco County. There is no question. These are not jet aircraft flying commercial flights. These are airplanes flying and injecting aerosols into the sky in an attempt to, as Mr. Gates referred to it, Bill Gates, as I recall, dim the sun. It's an attempt at sun dimming. I would urge the Senate committee, I respectfully appreciate the chairman for hearing the bill. And I worked in the Senate a long time ago. I appreciate that. And I would urge the committee to approve the bill. I would recommend, I hope Senator Garcia will consider increasing the criminal penalty to a felony. If a pilot knows it's a felony before he goes into the sky or she and disperses these chemicals, that pilot will think twice.
I don't think they will, because they know that they're fully protected. So this was Florida. Yeah, their bill to ban the geoengineering, and it didn't happen. Okay. Tennessee, well, we're banning geoengineering. All of that spraying that's going, didn't happen. New Hampshire, didn't happen. Wow. So Texas, yeah, San Antonio, Houston.
Created dangerous driving conditions. In southeast Houston, high water was reported on major freeways, including I-10 at Lockwood and a stretch of 610 South near Woodridge. Local media spotted multiple stalled cars near the intersection of MLK and 610 and others near Broadway. Water rose quickly in those spots and trapped some drivers. The flooding wasn't limited to the roads. Jorge Morales, who lives in an apartment complex in the area, said 6 to 8 inches of water poured into his unit during the height of the storm. While the water has since receded, management is putting him to another unit. It happened really quick. In 3 or 5 minutes, all the water started going in, he said. So my daughter started screaming, "Hey, Dad, look at the water." Man, she got scared. She started crying because didn't know what's going to happen. Air travel was also affected. Both George Bush Intercontinental and Hobby airports reported ground stops during the heaviest rain. We're tracking thunderstorms as dangerous flooding develops along key routes, including the Gulf Freeway and I-10. With many people moving their Labor Day grilling plans indoors, our KPRC2 weather team and I are keeping a close eye on the forecast through our app. Right now,
Some homes got flooded. I don't know the number, but Texas, you have a very active Weather Modification Association. Might want to take a look at what they're doing, modifying the weather. All right, Afghanistan, over 800 people dead, about 2,500 injured, and I think the number has already gone up.
An earthquake in Afghanistan has killed more than 800 people, but there are fears entire villages have been flattened. The Taliban-run government says 2,500 people have been injured. The magnitude 6 quake in the east of the country struck just before midnight our time. It was felt by more than 1.2 million people, shaking buildings from the capital Kabul to neighbouring Pakistan's capital, Islamabad. But the real problem is the isolated villages where the majority of people live in low-rise mud brick homes that are vulnerable to collapse. And reaching those villages, many cut off because of road blockages, is extremely difficult. Our correspondent Rachel Young has the latest.
In one of the most remote corners of Afghanistan, they are pulling the living and the dead out of what's left of their homes. Built from stone, wood and straw, these buildings were no match for an earthquake that hit just after midnight, splitting families as they slept. My dad, cries this little boy. But this is footage from Afghan television, and his father's fate is not yet clear. What is obvious is how little help there is. Only helicopters can reach them, and there aren't enough stretchers to cope.
Almost the entire village has collapsed. There are children trapped under the rubble. The elderly are under the rubble. Young people are under the rubble. We need help here.
But there are far more injured than there are helicopters, and already many of the region's hospitals are overwhelmed. The Taliban-run government says it put a search and rescue operation into place shortly after the quake hit, but this is one of the poorest countries in the world, and some of the worst hit areas are still to be reached.
Right now, because of the earthquake, there have been several landslides that have happened and that have blocked even the existing roadways and pathways. So search and rescue efforts are going to be extraordinarily difficult.
And boy, do they need it. So those earthquakes, pretty much all have the signature of earthquakes that, yeah. Let's see, this is 10 kilometers. That is the depth, which is a signature of a HARP or extremely low frequency earthquake. Not natural. 10 kilometers, 10 kilometers. This one up here, this one, 10.9 kilometers. There were many more on this page. Now, where'd they go? 10 kilometers. They're all 10, except for that 10.9. All right. Wow. Labor Day weekend, and a whole lot of beaches were closed on the East Coast due to fecal contamination. Yeah. Okay. Sky-high levels of fecal contamination. Long Island's Benjamin's Beach in Bayshore, a favorite summer spot. Oh my God. Slapped with a swimming ban after Suffolk County officials found bacteria levels above acceptable safety limits. Health officials warn that swimming in poo water can result in gastrointestinal illness, rashes, infections of the eye, ears, nose, throat. Urge residents to stay out of the water until testing shows that it's safe. Beaches from Crystal River, Florida to Cape Cod, Massachusetts, Gunquit, Maine, have also been slapped with advisories tied to bacteria linked to fecal matter. The culprit? It's a nasty mix of urban runoff, sewage overflows, factory farm waste that's been pushing dangerous pathogens straight into America's waters. All right, so this is a report from Environment America. The group's latest report paints a disturbing picture. More than 60% of all U.S. beaches and 54% along the East Coast had potentially unsafe contamination levels last year. In 2024, 1,930 of 3,187 beaches tested nationwide experienced at least one day of closing due to unsafe levels of fecal contamination. So what's going on? Why? Why the factory farm waste, sewage overflows, urban runoff going into the oceans? And if that wasn't gross enough, Suffolk County, this is Long Island, Suffolk County officials are also telling locals to stay far away from Preston's Pond near Manorville, where a fresh bloom of toxic blue-green algae has made the water hazardous. Wow. That's an interesting question, heterodox. If Carol had an NLT community, where would you put it? And everyone is invited to answer. All right, so they don't want us doing anything. They don't want us traveling. They don't want us to have cars. They don't want us to own anything. You're not going to be going to the beaches because the beaches will be for the wealthy. You'll be in your 15-minute city and you'll get to experience what the Gazans are experiencing. Man found dead at Burning Man sparks homicide investigation. I don't know what the hell Burning Man is. I know that it's been going on for many, many years. I don't know, but I read in here that Burning Man, that's like for the elite. Is that true? A man was found dead in a pool of blood. I guess, oh, it's a pentagon. Is that, am I looking at a pentagon? I think I am. That's interesting. Well, so Nicole Shanahan says America doesn't just need reform, it needs an exorcism. She went to Burning Man for 8 years. Now she suspects Burning Man isn't just a playground for the elites, it's a playground for demons. What is this? I got to look into this Burning Man stuff because I don't even know what the hell it is. But I know last year they got an awful lot of rain and were stuck there because of all of the mud. It happened again. Burning Man.
And some more rain.
This year's edition of the Burning Man Festival is officially doomed. First, on opening weekend, a massive sandstorm destroyed hundreds of tents, tore apart shade structures,
You are seeing the havoc, the destruction,
and severely damaged multiple art installations. The dust had barely settled when the next disaster struck upon the festival. Not one, but multiple heavy rainstorms, turning the playa into a miserable pool of mud.
Uh-oh, this is not good.
On Sunday evening, roughly 24 hours after the dust storm, heavy rains swept over Black Rock City, transforming the flat desert floor into something entirely different. Unlike most places, this Nevada desert has no natural drainage systems. It's a completely flat surface covered with alkaline dust. Out there, water doesn't drain, nor does it soak in. It mixes with the fine dust and forms a thick, clay-like mud. Within hours, the playa turned into a 7-mile-wide bowl of sludge that clung to everything: shoes, tires, bikes, tents. One witness described the chaos.
So just walking the 10 feet or so over from the tent to the car, all these footprints, just look at my boots. Like, it's kind of heavy to pick my foot up. There's that much extra weight on there.
Camps that had just rebuilt after the sandstorm now faced a new battle, keeping their shelters dry as water seeped in through every gap. The next night, As more rain fell in sheets and puddles spread across the city, the danger almost turned deadly. A man stepped into a waterlogged section of the playa and suffered a suspected electrocution. First responders suspected lightning struck the victim, but further reports discovered electrical equipment had been running nearby. When the standing water became energized, the man collapsed instantly. Emergency crews rushed to his side and airlifted him to a trauma center outside the desert. The shocking incident led organizers to issue urgent warnings. As more rain fell from the sky, elevate your gear, keep generators out of puddles, tape off your cords, and under no circumstances walk barefoot in the water. The festival's mantra of self-reliance can mean life or death when weather changes the rules of the game. For everyone else, the rain left misery in its wake. Playa mud doesn't brush off. It sticks like cement to everything.
Check it out.
I got like 10 pounds on each foot of mud. Check this out, baby. OMG.
Boots gained several kilos of extra weight. Bikes, normally the main way to get around the 7-mile-wide city, became nothing more than dead weight. The playa got filled with left-behind bikes as attendants restored to their final means of transportation, walking.
What is actually happening?
With the desert sand turned to a sandy slushy, organizers had to shut down almost all amenities.
All the activities are shut down. We all slept all night with no house music bumping. Everything stopped because of that.
All right. I'm reading the comments. I don't know what a wicker man is. But yeah, this is not anything I would be into going to. I just, yeah. Well, this has happened now 2 years in a row with all of the rain. But I'm going to have to look into this because this seems very weird to me, Burning Man. It just seems very weird. I don't know. It does seem a little on the satanic side, especially when you see that opening well, for sure this. But right here. And what is all of this? Is this, it looks like a theater or, I don't know. Oh boy, all right. Rural America, all farms, they're collapsing. Suffering an economic crisis as crop prices plunge. U.S. soybean and corn farmers cannot survive all of these tariffs. They're going under. What does that mean for us? That means that even if you're in an area, oh God. All right, so I don't know if you could hear the motorcycles outside. You're in a rural area, you know, that you're able to get some food from the farmers in that area. That's going to end. It's already ending because there are a lot of farms that are they're farmers killing themselves, farms collapsing, and Trump comes into office. He loves farmers. I was listening to this. Oh my God, it was disgusting. I love farmers. I love farmers. He just kept repeating that. And I was like, what the hell is wrong with him? But yeah, we're looking at so much collapsing at the exact same time. Corn and soybeans, have sent dire warnings as prices for their crops have crashed in recent years. And now with Trump, they're really crashing. And, you know, most of the world does not want what we produce. They just don't. Because we produce crap. And we produce genetically modified corn and soybeans. And we produce poison. They don't want meats from us. They don't want our, you know, produce. They sure as hell don't want any of our, you know, products like furniture and stuff like that. No, because we, decades ago, we used to make good products and we just don't anymore. But that little tiny bit of manufacturing that continues to go on. Yeah. There are, you know, negotiators in countries that are very confused because things seem to change, you know, on a daily basis in our country with the tariffs, with courts. You know, now the courts are saying that the tariffs were illegal. And so people in other countries are going, well, what the hell are we supposed to do? We don't know what the hell. We know the Trump administration is going to appeal it, but it's kind of like isolating the United States more and more and more and getting people really pissed. A downturn in international travel to the US may last beyond summer. No, you're kidding. Really? Well, people don't want to come here. They don't want to come. You know, first of all, you know, there's a lot in Western countries, they too affected by the economies in their countries, so they don't have the money. But an awful lot, you know, they're just, they know that this country has really declined. It's really sad what's going on. You know, so a marketing campaign, wow, which included a $500 gift card giveaway, was meant to show Buffalo, New York, their northern neighbors, that they are welcome, wanted, and missed. Well, you are. Tourism, Buffalo, Niagara Falls. People don't want to come here. We're not loved anymore. U.S. trade allies confused after Trump's tariffs suffer legal setback. You know, how do people in other countries, you know, deal with what is taking place in our country? You know, Trump says one thing one day, then he'll say the opposite the next day. Peace, you know, he meets Putin up in Alaska for a peace meeting, and now he's sending 865 billion in arms sales to Ukraine. I mean, our country is insane, okay? It's just flat out insane. So, and a whole lot of countries are just walking away. They just don't want to deal with this anymore. Trump's double humiliation as Z embraces Modi and Putin. Well, what did you expect? What did you expect? The United States and India's bromance is well and truly over thanks to the president's double dose of tariffs. So he hits India with 50% tariff of 50%. And yeah, more and more, we just don't want to deal with the United States. So, and what truly is amazing is in talking to Japan, the United States, Trump was trying to get Japan to take American rice. Japan is like the world's rice producer. Like, why would it ever want to take American rice? But the humiliation is just going to become so intense for Americans and for sure our government. So, yeah, why don't these leaders of countries are just saying, ciao, ciao, don't need you. And plus the fact, I knew it was bad. I didn't know it was this bad. America's education crisis threatens to unravel a superpower, China. We really have fallen. This woman in retirement age lives in the richest country in the world, but until recently, her reading ability was roughly in line with an 8-year-old. Now, I knew that some, in our country, this has been true forever. They could go through their entire life not knowing how to read, but it was a very small percentage. That percentage is quite big now. So she said, I had to learn my vowels, had to learn spelling. She works in a CVS or a stockkeeper in a pharmacy chain. Okay. I haven't gotten to math yet, but I'm working step by step. Scores released by the U.S. National Center for Education Statistics this year showed that the reading ability of 13-year-olds fell even further in 2024, hitting a low last recorded in 1994. Long-run data show that these children are at the same level they were in the 1970s. The Program for the International Assessment of Adult Competency found that 28% of American adults scored at or below the lowest level of reading proficiency in 2023. That proportion was up from 19% in 2017. 28%. Some 34% of Americans now score the lowest grade for numeracy skills, while 32% get the bottom rating for problem solving. Both these levels are far above the averages of 25%, 29% across the OECD group of developed nations. Okay. Even if it's only half as bad as those test scores suggest, it's unbelievably terrible. It's hard to overstate how bad it is. And this is from Nat Mulkis, the Deputy Director of Education Studies at the American Enterprise Institute. There are students who are graduating. I actually saw this article today. Graduating high school with a diploma that they can't read. They can't read the diploma. All right. America is losing its brain power and it's jeopardizing its place on the world stage. Well, look at Trump, man. We've got Trump. Doesn't matter how much money people have. It doesn't matter what position they hold. Listen to him talk. As far as I'm concerned, he's maybe of average intelligence. Once the world's education superpower, the U.S. is slipping down global rankings. With this decline comes a massive threat to productivity, economic growth, and America's national security. And we're right there. Link is in the chat. You can read further, but it's bad. Now, 338 hospitals closing down, mass nursing layoffs. Okay. Do you see how the United States is closing its doors?
Y'all, happy Monday. Unfortunately, I do have to deliver some bad news about what's going on with healthcare in Alabama. So another rural hospital in Alabama has shut its doors.
338 hospitals face closure. Red states will be hardest hit. So right now, there is a lot of federal cuts happening in healthcare, especially massive cuts in Medicare and Medicaid. We're also seeing less funding for a lot of rural hospitals too. So right now, a lot of rural hospitals in America are closing down. Okay, these are some of the most vulnerable populations as well. 338 hospitals face closure, with up to 1,000 that'll probably be closing very, very soon because they don't have any money. I doubt that the big beautiful bill is being repealed or thrown away. It's set in stone. And this is a catalyst for some of the biggest healthcare layoffs ever. And a lot of people in nursing are a little bit concerned with the layoffs because a lot of local hospitals are watching some of the bigger hospitals after one of them laid off over 100 CNAs. Other hospitals may do the same, which will allow them to cut costs at the expense of patients and staff. And now, with a bunch of people gone, you're going to be picking up the slack, even if you don't want to. And a lot of nurses also say it's not just the layoffs are making them very scared, but the burnout is real. New grad burnout is insane right now. Have a little over 4 months experience on an orthopedic unit. And right now there's this intense feeling of dread and anxiety. Can hardly sleep before my shifts. When I get off work, I end up sleeping like 12 hours, eating only 1 or 2 meals a day. Mental health is terrible. And if you look into the nursing world, the pay really isn't high enough, especially a lot of them do graduate with a lot of student debt. And the amount of work nurses go through is pretty insane. You know, the nursing environment, some of it's pretty toxic. You know, a lot of it just isn't really that great. A lot of patient interaction. And it's just tiring. It really drains the crap out of it. And now a lot of these nurses are going to have to be facing massive hospital closures. These hospital closures are getting bigger than ever before. In my personal opinion, 338 hospitals closing is an insane number, given that this is America. A lot of us, especially people over 50 years old, really need hospital care. And now they're going to have to travel really, really far away to get any sort of care. And especially right now, the rural populations are absolutely going to get destroyed from these hospital closures.
And absolutely, I've recommended this channel, Market Gains. The link is in the chat, and you can listen to the remaining and some nurses that what the hell are they going to do? Now, today is your last day. General Motors lays off entire team after tariffs destroy company.
Shift cuts are underway at Factory Zero in Hamtramck. GM executives confirming with CBS the EV manufacturing factory will partially shut down first and second shift production temporarily starting September 2nd. This partial shutdown will affect as many as 360 employees. GM says production of the GMC Hummer and Cadillac Escalade will be impacted. The shutdown is expected to run through October 6th. The company releasing a statement saying in part, quote, General Motors updates schedules as part of our standard process of aligning production to manage vehicle inventory. Impacted employees will be placed on a temporary layoff and may be eligible for subpay and benefits in accordance with the GM UAW national contract, end quote. The partial shutdown is expected to run through October 6th.
Layoffs in 2025 have gotten out of control. And here is another example of what I talked.
And it is 360 employees. Oh my God. Wow. Layoffs will begin on September 2nd, run until October 6th. It's a temporary adjustment to production to align to market dynamics with these tariffs. Well, all of these corporations are in on the game. And anybody who thinks that these so-called politicians with their policies, corporate CEOs, the Fed, is that these people are good people, my God, these are criminals. They're criminals that are, quote unquote, ruling us. My God, do we need communities everywhere to be taking some action, getting together, organizing, doing something? Americans, more and more, and I can't, listening to the young, wow, did we leave them hell? We left them hell.
I am beyond terrified of my financial situation. I was supposed to have 10K saved up at this point in time, and I only have 4. I'm about to move into an apartment, and this was going to be kind of like a safety net since I have no safety net financially, emotionally. Like, I might not be doomed to homelessness at this point in time, but it feels that way. Like, I don't know, it scares me so bad. And I know that we're all dealing with financial problems. I know that I'm not alone in this, but it's like, how do you cope? How do you cope with that uncertainty? How do you navigate life with financial uncertainty, no emotional support? Like, I don't know. Just sharing this because you're not alone if you're in the same situation. I don't know. I've honestly never met anyone in the same exact situation as me. So I don't even know if there's people out there. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
There are a lot of people. There are a lot of people, but it's interesting what she said. All right, so she's moving into a new apartment. She's got 4,000 saved, which is more than an awful lot of Americans. Doesn't mean that her position is rosy, but she feels as if she'll be homeless. So I think she's got her eyes open to what's happening. I don't know how much she knows, but she may very well be. That's the truth of what is taking place. You know, her feelings, unfortunately, are right on.
Months ago, because I lost my job due to the Trump administration 6 months ago. I tried to stick it out in DC for a few months and just couldn't make it work. Obviously was applying to jobs all the time. Now I'm home and I'm not ashamed of that at all. And I'm so grateful that my parents are willing to let me come back to be in a place like this. Like, oh my God, it's such a better situation than so many people who've been impacted by this administration, both in the US and abroad. I have so much gratitude, which a lot of the time actually only deepens the sadness, because I think it's like a juxtaposition of gratitude and like gratitude against like what it could be and what it is for so many other people, which of course is sad. Yeah, it's a rough time to be looking for a job. It's a rough time to be paying for student loans for a master's in an industry that there's no real point to this other than to just say that out loud.
I didn't even get into the job market. Like in her situation, a lot of it, she got laid off directly as a direct impact because of Trump's policy.
Along with hundreds of thousands. Unbelievable number. But should you be grateful? Should you be grateful for having a family that is supportive and will help you? That's what families should be doing. I guess this woman, who's very grateful, understands that not a lot of people have what she has. What happens when you don't? Well, you struggle, you hang on until you die. I mean, that's essentially what happens. Every parent should always have the door open for their children. and grandchildren. And families that don't, there's something wrong with those parents. But I don't know, being grateful for something that is just something that it should be a given, but it's not. Now, I've heard from a lot of subscribers, and very, very few, in fact, one that comes to mind always, that she was always very grateful for having loving, supportive parents who helped her out quite a bit, who were always there. That's the responsibility of a parent. Now, I'm not talking about being always there for, your child that is very irresponsible, or but parents also have to recognize that, yeah, they actually do quite a bit of harm. So they might be part of the reason why they have these irresponsible, adult children. But as far as I'm concerned, a parent should never, ever close the door. So I don't know. I don't know what the hell, man. And this woman, yeah, is right on in terms of what she thinks. All right, so let's listen to this. I'm afraid this might blast you out, so.
This is the real reason our government doesn't take care of the veterans. Watch this.
I am not usually a conspiracy theorist, but I have one cooking and I genuinely believe
This
it.
makes a lot of sense.
I wholeheartedly believe that the reason the government does not take care of our veterans better is because keeping our veterans in a place where they're constantly having to survive instead of thrive means that they are far less likely to be able to participate in a form of resistance against the government. And I think that their input in a resistance would be our best shot at actually
Tell me this
overthrowing an
doesn't make
authoritarian
sense.
government.
Stay weird.
Thoughts, comments, questions, concerns?
This is the real.
And I think that is absolutely the case. And put them on a tremendous amount of these psychiatric medications where they well, skyrocketing numbers, killing themselves. But those medications mess with people's heads, and they can't think clearly. I do think that that is absolutely one of the reasons, but our country doesn't take care of anybody. We don't take care of anybody. We don't take care of the elderly. We don't take care of veterans. We don't take care of, it's, well, you're destroyed. And then you have to live, facing others judging you, even though there were external forces that got you into that circumstance. All right, I'm going to play this out. Don't know how anybody could do this, but when the flood hit, her owner evacuated, leaving her alone in the waters. This puppy. Love it. I love it. I love it. They went all out. Now, don't you think that all puppies should have a life like that? All dogs? Unfortunately, so many don't. But the foal started galloping just 3 hours after its birth and surprised its mother. Beautiful. So let me take you over here. American moved to Marengo, Illinois, and planted sunflowers and fruits and vegetables. The garden got a little too close to the road corner. The city told her to clean it up, and she did. Next thing she knows, the city sends workers to take out her entire garden, now saying that this is city property. They later confirmed with her if she never planted it near the corner of the road by the turn, this wouldn't be happening. And she feels like this is retaliation. Does our government really have nothing better to do than to send taxpayer-funded workers to rip out a home garden because it's a little close to the road? What the hell?
One more time before the village takes it all down. They've already cut down the sunflowers. They weren't kind enough to dig up my trees.
So I can't make this any louder.
Well, here it is, one more time before the village takes it all down. They've already cut down the sunflowers. They weren't kind enough to dig up my trees. My watermelons are going. My tomatoes are going. Half of my garden is going. My raised beds are going. What my understanding was that we needed to clear the corner for safety, and I did that according to the best of my understanding. I asked for, yeah, please, whatever you can do. I mean, again, this is a lot of hard work. It's a lot of money. So yeah, that would be great. So they're now coming in and they're taking out all of my plants. I'm guessing all of my beds. Everything is getting decimated. My entire garden will probably be gone. The sunflowers are down. If anybody would like some, please feel free to come and get some. The archway is currently in the way. I've never received any kind of notice that the right-of-way was a problem. They said right-of-way. I didn't know what right-of-way meant. So I asked for clarification. I did not receive that. And now they're coming in and they're destroying about $3,000 worth of plants in the garden. So I just wanted to show it one last time. And yeah, that's it. I spoke with Marianne. I asked Marianne because, again, my understanding was the corner safety was the issue. I removed that. I took that all down. It was clear as of yesterday, and now today they're saying that this is the city's property and all of this needs to go all the way into this space. So I don't know what to do. Again, I got fruits and vegetables ripening on the vine. I came here from somewhere, where I didn't get to grow. I didn't have an opportunity. And yeah, it got a little bit crazy. Because it's rained a lot, but it was just about time to, harvest things and clean things up. And here we are now, and it's all coming down. Literally, almost my entire garden is coming down. They're saying that this all is the city's property. All the way up until here.
Yeah, that looks clear.
All the way up until here.
The corner before. All right. Now. Yeah, that looks, she did what she was told to do. Oh my God. Boy, our government, man, local, state, federal, out of control.
I was just told that if I had cleared the corner according to what they wanted, without clarification that I asked for, that I probably wouldn't have had to deal with this. So it definitely feels like retaliation, harassment, I don't know. I don't know what to do. This really stinks. Don't move to a small town and think that you can plant things. Because you can't unless you know your property, which I didn't know. And when I asked, I wasn't given an opportunity to learn about that.
Oh, it's so sad what is happening to so many people. Yeah, we are definitely living a time of tyranny. Can you see it? Can you feel it? And the world is out of control. Now, this is the UK, right? They have a massive problem with these illegal migrants coming over on boats, and a whole lot of them said enough. So this is a huge, huge, huge protest. There, the flags of the UK, England, St. George, whatever. Look, look at this. So wait, is this Australia? Oh shit, I think this is Australia. Well, it's just another country owned by the Crown. Melbourne. Okay, I apologize, but in England, they are also, a whole lot are flying their flag, and it just doesn't seem to be going very well with their government. UK Council offers emotional support to staff discomforted by seeing the national flag. Oh, okay. Really? A council in the county of Essex, close to London, has been ridiculed for offering emotional support to employees they claim are feeling unsettled by seeing so many people raising the national flag. This is where we are now? Could this even be true? They're unsettled by seeing their national flag in the streets of towns and cities across the country. As we have highlighted, the action is being taken by everyday people in Britain who are sick to the back teeth of mass illegal immigration and the fallout is having on their communities. Let's listen to this for a second.
What did he say again?
So This is insane. You need emotional support? Oh, God. Is everybody a 2-year-old now?
No, no, we won't.
To hold and give, but do it at the right time. You can be slow or fast, but you must get to the line.
Am I going to get a copyright strike? Look, the community guideline strike, I wasn't saying anything that other channels are not saying now, but they don't get a community guideline strike. Well, Birmingham lads paint St. George's Cross on the roundabouts after council tore down their flags.
Come on! Uh-oh! Oh! Oh! What's he say?
Then literally the next day. Yes, your streets may be rat-infested dumps. Your roads may resemble the moon. But at least you won't have to see some red and white paint on a roundabout. Rainbow paint, that's fine though. Bad flag, good flag. One's art, the other's just vandalism. The mere sight of England flags, if you hate England, hate the English, and support everything that's led to the decay of our country, which these very flags are a symbol of resistance against, is like a cross to a vampire.
If you're going up and putting the flag of St. George, why are you doing it? I bet you there's an aggression in this campaign, which I think we should be aware of. Somebody's going around putting up these flags in this way, these crosses of St. George. You know it's aggressive.
Despite your council tax increasing year on year as you get fewer and fewer services, despite potholes taking months, sometimes years to fix, they can remove England flags within hours.
They're aggressive. I would say all of the illegal migrants coming over on the boats, that's pretty damn aggressive. Housing them in all these areas of England in hotels, they get an awful lot of money from taxpayers. That's aggressive. Certainly all of the violence, that's aggressive. But getting a little angry about it, and your protest is hanging your national flag. Take it down. How dare they?
All we have to do is paint the St. George's Cross inside potholes and the council will fix them within 24 hours. Just paint.
All right, so yeah, this is so. So the email that the council sent out, quote, while these symbols may hold different meanings for different people, we recognize that for many, particularly our colleagues of color, your colleagues of color, okay, there are Black Brits, and they don't like the national flag. That's a little presumptuous, don't you think? They can evoke feelings of discomfort and be associated with anti-immigration rhetoric. Well, they are. And the Brits are not happy about it. Von der Leyen says Europe is drawing up precise plans for U.S.-backed troop deployment in Ukraine. Oh, they're so wanting the war. They're so wanting, and it's going to happen. Don't mention mass immigration. Major parties in Cologne, local elections sign a fairness agreement, vowing not to speak badly about migration, except for one party, Alternative for Germany, which is They're the most popular party, and they are the party with the policies of migrants. We don't want them. Get them out. All right. This is insane. And I think they're going to shoot themselves in the foot. They pledged to speak only positively about immigration and avoid linking it to social problems. And there are massive social problems in Germany with all of the illegal migrants. Okay. The PAC, all these, the CDU, the SPD, Greens, FDP, Left Party, Volt, Die Partei, I don't know, except for AFD, which is Alternative for Germany, have been signatories to this pact to not blame migrants or refugees for unemployment, crime, or security concerns. It also promises an active fight against racism and anti-Semitism with compliance monitored by Protestant and Catholic Church representatives. Citizens are encouraged to report possible breaches of the agreement by party campaigners or candidates. The agreement explicitly excluded AFD party from the process, with those involved insisting the right-wing party does not share their values. No, they don't, and should not be welcome to sign. Not that there was any suggestion that the party would sign. So political scientist Werner Patzelt told Bill that the decision was tactically stupid, arguing that leaving migration concerns unaddressed hands the AFD an open goal. Our parties are so stupid that they don't see the tactical disadvantage and are so weak-minded that they don't see that they themselves are damaging our democracy by not wanting to talk about important issues. Wow. The brilliance of all of these parties, except for one, that would not become a signatory because they have been, that party, AFD, have been talking about the migrants and, you know, they wanted to ban AFD, but it is a very popular party because Germans are getting, just like the Brits, just like an awful lot, the Irish, getting very angry about what is happening to their country. And I'm going to read some of this, but I have seen in those videos that I show with a lot of people just talking about, well, wanting to leave this country and people considering Canada. And I'm like, why would anybody consider moving to Canada? Well, the harsh truth about life in Canada today. So, Canada is often portrayed as a land of freedom, opportunity, prosperity. Reality, however, tells a different story. Statists, policies, crushing taxes, bloated bureaucracy, and a society overtaken by woke ideology have shattered Canada. This is a cautionary tale for those looking at Canada as an ideal living space. If you are asking yourself what living in Canada is like, let me explain. Canada is not a land of fulfilled dreams, but of enduring harsh conditions and barely getting by. As if economic hardships aren't enough, Canadians are also oppressed by the Orwellian newspeak that woke culture is creating. If you speak your mind, you're labeled a fascist. If you question social policies, you're accused of microaggressions. There are no best places in Canada anymore. As a Canadian, I see little chance of Canada becoming livable again. It's unfortunate, but what's happened is permanent. It's now we're living the permanent conditions of just of tyranny, authoritarianism, police states, the restrictions imposed during COVID. They're going to go through what's happening in Canada, woke culture and the end of free speech, assisted suicide and moral decline. Canada has the fastest growing assisted suicide program in the world. When MAID was legalized in 2016, it only included individuals with terminal illnesses. Over time, the criteria relaxed and expanded to include psychological disorders or illnesses. In 2021, approximately 10,000 people ended their lives under MAID. Even people who were experiencing financial difficulties or housing problems resorted to euthanasia. So the government creates the housing problems, and then those who are facing the financial difficulty or the housing problems, the government kills them. Canada's health system is seriously unreliable because of long waiting times, overburdened hospitals, and staff shortages. Before moving to Canada, be mindful you can wait months to years for doctors' appointments and surgeries. The shortage of doctors and nurses severely disrupts health services. Excessive bureaucracy and limited private health services make the health system even more inefficient. Federal government overreach. The political conflict is between the federal and provincial governments becoming a serious problem. All right. The carbon tax becoming a serious problem. Overregulation. Ontario's total income tax payment can be as high as 53.5%. These high tax rates reduce the disposable income of individuals and businesses, restrict economic mobility under the guise of tax the rich, pay your fair share. The Canadian government began taxing capital gains over 250,000 Canadian dollars at up to 666 starting in 2024. Being an entrepreneur or creating economic productivity in Canada is one of the government's favorite activities to punish the high cost of living. I think it's even worse in Canada than it is here. So you see what's happening here? Then think you're going to be moving to Canada. Elections in Canada. So, conclusion, it's time to stop calculating the pros and cons. There are no advantages at all. Canada is a country stuck under high taxes, failing public services, ideological impositions, and an increasingly authoritarian government. Buying a house has become a dream, healthcare a lottery, and freedom of expression a luxury. I'll post the link if you want to read the full article. It is so sad. Prominent Ukrainian politician assassinated in broad daylight on the streets of Lviv. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. A former Ukrainian parliamentary speaker, a prominent voice on the hardline Ukrainian right, was shot and killed, walking casually near his home. Appeared to be a professional hit or assassination, given authorities described gunman dressed as a courier on an e-bike as the killer. Who might that have been? Who ordered the hit? Houthi leader vows attacks on Israel will continue after Israeli killing of the Yemeni prime minister. Okay. It's not, let's just say the tensions are not lessening, but heating up in the Middle East. Israel seeks Sykes-Picot, I think Picot borders as meaningless. Okay. World War I, the agreement, the Sykes-Picot or Picot agreement had established borders. The borders for Syria, Egypt, well, our ambassador to Turkey, but apparently he's now, the Middle East envoy, this guy, Tom Barrett, we are all over the place. And eventually we're going to pay the price. I mean, we're paying the price in many ways already. But are we going to be seeing more on our, we're the Germany that will get destroyed, World War II, dropping the bombs. I'd say that a lot of countries just so done with our country that they'd love to be able to drop bombs on this country. So Israel is not going to adhere to that agreement. The agreement was a secret agreement between Britain and France, struck in 1916 during World War I, that divided the Ottoman Empire's territories in the Levant, fashioning the modern states of Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, and Mandatory Palestine. All right, not Egypt, I'm sorry. The wide swath of land that was later partitioned to create Israel. So our ambassador to Turkey, our Middle East envoy, said in Israel's mind, these lines that were created are meaningless. They will go where they want, when they want, and do what they want to protect the Israelis and their borders. Okay. What the Israeli government and the IDF are doing are leaving Israelis far more unsafe, not protecting them. And he also said, what's going on in Gaza makes the rest of the Arab world totally freaked out. Totally freaked out. Okay, so Israel will go where they want, do what they want, and so will the United States of America. U.S. pushes Hezbollah to disarm. to consolidate regional gains. That's what we do best, right? Take over the world. So, well, Hezbollah is considered a terrorist organization. Would they disarm? They want them disarmed. Oh, okay. If you ask nicely, maybe. Maybe they will, but if you do things like piss off people because you're so flippin' arrogant and you happen to be, someone from the West, and you literally insult a nation, well, maybe they won't disarm now. U.S. envoy faces backlash after telling journalists to act civilized. Because we're so civilized. So, please be quiet for a moment, Tom Barrack said, Barack Barrack. And he said, the moment this starts becoming chaotic, and this was while he's in Lebanon at the presidential palace, and this is what he's saying to the journalist, the moment this starts becoming chaotic, like animalistic, we're gone. So you want to know what's happening? Act civilized, act kind, act tolerant, because this is the problem with what's happening in the region. Oh, really? It couldn't be that the United States is actually igniting all of the tensions? Well, lots of backlash. Failure. Hey, babe. Some journalists were saying it's a direct insult. Failure to issue an apology may prompt a boycott of his visits and meetings. We're so flippin' arrogant, it's disgusting. Columnist at the Cradle Media, based in Beirut, called the statement a textbook colonial gesture, adding that it was part of a sequence reflecting how the West views people of the global South. Another prominent journalist turned MP said, Barack's words laid bare the collapse and decay of Western diplomacy. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The outrage spread on social media, spilled into the streets. Barack canceled his scheduled tour of the southern Lebanese towns, and amid protests against the diplomat and the U.S. push to disarm Hezbollah. We just think that we can just dictate our way, and everybody needs to fall down, bow to us, and get the job done. Well, those days are over. Disgusting. Israeli troops raid multiple villages in southwest Syria. So the United States and Syria and Turkey have pretty much taken over Syria. Syrians, just trying to survive, a whole lot dead. This is what we do. Syria was such an incredible country. We've destroyed it. Libya, we destroyed it. Iraq, Afghanistan, we just destroyed it. An Israeli defense minister says IDF will remain in newly occupied areas of Syria. The defense minister Israel Katz said on Tuesday that Israel will remain in the territory it has captured in southern Syria following the regime change. While Katz cited alleged threats from Syria to justify the continued occupation, Israel has reported just one rocket attack from Syrian territory since the regime change, which did not cause any damage or casualties. The new Syrian government, led by former al-Qaeda leader Ahmed al-Shara, he changed his name. Al-Qaeda changes their name. It's hard to keep up, but that's the reason. The terrorist organizations, the US, Israel, and who we put in to be the ruler of Syria, Al-Qaeda leader, has also been very deferential toward Israel, of course, because Israel, it's like Israel, United States, creates Hamas, funds it, the top tier get an awful lot of money from Israel, from the United States, do the same thing here in Syria. U.S. freezes visas for Palestinian passport holders amid mounting national security threats. And our State Department, which I'm not sure where that article is, I bookmarked it. So we've decided to not allow any of the Palestinian leaders in to go to United Nations General Assembly meetings. Nearly all categories of visitor visas for Palestinian passport holders cannot come in anymore. Whether they're seeking medical treatment, university studies, visits to friends or relatives, business travel. Wow. U.S. announces plan to arm Ukraine with thousands of long-range cruise missiles that will even go further into Russia than what we've been supplying, extended range attack munitions. The arms sale will be funded in part by foreign military financing, a State Department program that provides foreign governments with money to buy US-made weapons. So we provide foreign governments with money to buy our weapons. Other funding for the deal will come from Denmark, the Netherlands, and Norway. Are they going to be footing the bill, or will we foot the bill? US-funded Hunger Monitor concurs with United Nations-backed IPC that famine is occurring in Gaza, and they put the blame on Israel. They should also put the blame on the United States because, yes, we are directly involved. Famine Early Warning Systems Network, historically funded by US aid, issued a report on August 22nd, the same day the IPC United Nations report came out, stating that famine is going on in the Gaza governorate Gaza, which includes Gaza City, also likely occurring in North Gaza, and it's spreading. The famine is spreading. The famine is projected to begin in the Khan Yunis and Deir el Balah by the end of September, unless immediate action is taken. Report also made clear that Israel was responsible for the famine in northern Gaza, cited the Israeli government's own data to say that no food was allowed into the area from March to May. Quote, after 22 months of war, repeated mass displacements, the destruction of nearly all essential infrastructure, and extreme restrictions on the entry of food, northern Gazans have long exhausted their coping capacity. So, 60% of Americans oppose additional military aid to Israel. 50% believe Israel is committing genocide. This is the highest level of opposition and lowest level of support for the United States sending more military aid to Israel since October 7, 2023. And please remember, always remember, The Economist, 2012, the cover of The Economist in 2012 somehow knew that Hamas would be flying into Israel, hang gliders. Somehow they knew it in 2012. What would happen in 2023? Fascinating, isn't it? And you still can't get through to people that all of it is orchestrated. Everything is orchestrated by Israel, by the United States. Yeah. 77% of Democrats, 51% of independents, 20% of Republicans believe Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. 35% said they did not believe Israel was committing genocide. 15% said they didn't know. 37% of American voters are more sympathetic to the Palestinians than the Israelis. So those numbers are increasing. You know, the Gen Zers are really, they have, and also around the world, the Gen Zers are, that's the generation that has a high percentage that they're dead against what is taking place. But how could anybody be for the killing of children, killing of innocent people? So Trump discusses Gaza plans with Tony Blair and Jared Kushner. Blair heads a nonprofit that drew up plans for a Gaza Riviera that involves removing 500,000 Palestinians from the Strip. They're still talking about it. They all discussed the day after plans for the Gaza Strip. Trump said repeatedly that his plan would involve the removal of the Palestinian population. Netanyahu and other Israeli officials frequently cite Trump's comments to push for their ultimate goal of ethnic cleansing. These are good people, huh? Good people. Some still applaud this guy as if, yeah, they still believe he's anointed by God. Oh my God. Last year, Kushner said that Gaza's waterfront property could be very valuable and said Palestinians should be removed from the territory. It's a little bit, quote, it's a little bit of an unfortunate situation here, there, a little bit of an unfortunate situation. This was last year while they were bombing and killing all of the Palestinians, as many as they could. And it continues to this day. It's a little bit unfortunate. But I think from Israel's perspective, I would do my best to move the people out, then clean it up. But I don't think that Israel has stated that they don't want the people to move back there afterward. Blair, pushing similar ideas. Blair also converted to Catholicism, just like Vance. Wow. Blair, head of a nonprofit, participated in a project involving Israeli businessmen to develop plans for a post-war Gaza that involved the building of a Trump Riviera and an Elon Musk smart manufacturing zone. The plans, which were shared with the Trump administration, also include the removal of 500,000 Palestinians from the Strip. White House meeting came as Israel's genocidal war in Gaza continues to rage. So disgusting. These disgusting murderers, disgusting psychopaths, disgusting criminals, Nazis. And still people applaud them. Well, I don't think that's very good. Not at all. All right. Just in case I get banned from this channel, I do want to post the link to my Rumble channel, where I will keep going. All right, so the link is in the chat. I hope that you click on it and subscribe or follow me on Never Lose Truth. And should I not be here, I'm going to figure out how to do it on Rumble. So I very much appreciate all of you who showed up. And yeah, the only way to clean up a disgusting, narcissistic, psychopathic, subhuman society is to be the opposite of that. Live honestly and speak honestly and do your best to help those in need. Very important. Very important. So, again, thank you for showing up. I hope to see you tomorrow. Good night. Good luck. Ciao, guys.